Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and a link in the info box below this video once the video has rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the discussion and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules. Number one, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show, as sharing the show increases the chances of a more diverse panel by exposing the video to a more wide audience. So please share the show. And one last time, if you are new to the channel or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Sleeping Warrior. How are you doing, Sleeping Warrior? Good to have you.
I'm fully refreshed after a good night's sleep.
Yeah, me and Chris Seeley got to experience some of that sleep personally.
We were chatting last night and I'd fallen asleep in the background. I was laying on the sofa and the dog was on my chest. And I drifted off into a peaceful slumber while these two were chatting away, and I started snoring, and it was that bad. They had to cancel the call and restart a new one.
Yeah, I had Quantum Eraser chatting to me, and he was saying, "Why are you letting Anthony get away with letting the Globehead guests use logical fallacies in their reasoning?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know. He was, it was quite late when you went through that particular logical fallacy with us. Maybe he was half asleep." Now, after last night, I'm going to say, I think you were fully asleep. Just spark out, perhaps.
How embarrassing. Indeed. I've never actually fallen asleep that I'm aware of whilst, in a call. But obviously last night was a moment of madness where you just drift off. It's because I was lying on the sofa with the dog and we were just chilling. And wherever we were talking about, I remember Chris said to me, he said, "Are you still there?" Because I think you'd paused again, you'd dropped your signal or whatever. And I said, yeah, I'm still here. And that woke me up. And I didn't realize I was actually asleep, but it woke me up. And then next thing I remember, the call had ended and it was midnight.
Yeah, I mean, we're only talking, well, I say only, we're talking flat Earth non-stop, in essence. And it's generally a flat Earth conversation. But at one point, it was just like, I couldn't hear what Chris was saying. So we had to end the call and start a new one because it was your snoring interrupting us. But there we go. Fun.
So, the video that you put out yesterday, Al K has responded. Have you had the pleasure of watching it?
Yeah, I made a response video to it.
All right. So what was your response?
Well, he's got the boat wrong. So he's picked out some random P&O ferry. I know you have got a bit more information on how he's got it wrong, which I didn't include in my video, admittedly. But yeah, he's just got the identification of the boat wrong.
Yeah, it's interesting how quick and easy they'll claim that there's a debunk, but not just how quick and easy they'll claim a debunk, how quick and easy it's accepted. Nobody challenges the credibility of the argument being made. Everybody accepts it. It's kind of like a 3-year-old when you're giving them Calpol and the spoon. Pour out a bit of Calpol, present the spoon, and they just sit there with a wide open mouth and gobble it and go, mmm. That's what the ballers are like. They're that child that sits there with the Calpol presented on the spoon, and they just gobble it up like a goldfish. And they're all the same. All of them, none of them can critically analyze anything if it comes from their side of the debate. If it comes from my side, or your side, or Rancy's side, it becomes a different ball game. Then they'll challenge anything and everything. But when it comes from their own side, they can't do it. And when you look at the evidence presented by Al, the only thing that you can credibly give him any credit for is that it does seem to line up a little bit with that funnel. But really, when you look at the boat that he's trying to tell us that it is, you can see miles away that it's not. And it's, of course, it's the same mistake that Ranty made when he made his first video, the one that Miles the Liar Davis commented on. Ranty said it was the Bibby Wave Master 2. In actual fact, it was the Ben Marcherie, which is the same boat that Al's made this mistake on. Ranty said it was the Bibby Wave Master 2. I looked at the boat. I said, Ranty, I don't think that's the same boat. Didn't know what boat it was, just didn't think it matched what we could see, because there are individual unique identifiers in the boat that we can see that made me question it. So within an hour or so, Ranty had changed it. He'd worked out what boat it actually was, and he'd made the correction. Obviously, Miles the Liar Davis had spotted it and then jumped all over it as though it was some kind of deceit. And simply it was the case of, well, these two boats look similar, but they're not the same. Are you sure you've got the right boat, Ranty? Ranty was persuaded that it might not be. He worked out which boat it actually was, and then he accepted that it was wrong, changed it on that basis, but Miles had noticed it and thought that there was foul play. Well, the exact same mistake's been made here. It appears, or it is, a fact that Alkay has claimed that this boat, what was the boat we called it? I can't remember what it is.
I just said P&O Ferry. We've got Ranty here now, so maybe Ranty can expand a little bit.
Oh,
Good
excellent.
morning. How is
Morning.
everybody today?
Very well.
All good.
Very
I thought you were off to work.
I was, but I've got a bloody chest infection, and as soon as I turned up, I just thought, do you know what? I'm just going to give it a miss today.
So you thought you'll go home and play on flat earth debates instead?
Yeah, well, kind of wound me up when I saw what he'd actually claimed was the actual boat in question. You know, kind of messed me up a bit because he's clearly, I mean, he's looking in the wrong direction for a start. Have you presented any of the ship IAS? No, right.
Nothing. I'm so glad you raised so that you can do it on my behalf instead, or you can do it on your own behalf so that I don't have to.
Okay, right. Well, basically, he's identified the Norbe as being the boat in question on that day, which is complete and utter horse manure because it's in the complete wrong direction. What he's done is he's looked through the pier for a boat that would be appearing through the pier with the wind farms in the background. What he didn't understand was, or clearly was too stupid to think, to realize, was that I wasn't looking at those wind farms at all. I'd turned my camera around about 130 degrees or so, or something in that direction, and was looking up towards the other wind farms near off. Oh crikey! Hang on. Let me get it up because it'll be easier.
Well, the point is, he's about 100 degrees off. Now, to be fair to Alkay, he didn't know the date and time, and I don't think he knew the rough direction.
Because I came into the hangout straight away. Literally, I came back on the day. I think it was debate 158, and I came back in and I said, I've got some, incredible pictures that I want to share with everybody, and I think I presented it on that too. So
I love this. We've got a Rig saying, "What's the shadow?" It's like, yeah, that's what we're putting forward, Rig. You tell us. We're saying it's a shadow. Obviously, we've labelled it a shadow. So if you're saying it's not a shadow, like Alkay thinks it's the back of some different boat, you tell us, mate.
Yeah, he's a country mile off. I mean, he's completely in the wrong direction. I've got the ship IAS stuff up ready now. I mean, I'm just going to get Google Earth loaded up. I'll show you.
Just clarify the picture. Isn't this also the same thing that happened with regards to the Bibby Wave Master 2 and Miles the Liar Davis?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, as soon as the Ben Macherie now is kind of engraved in my head. So as soon as I see that boat, I know exactly what it is. It's very identifiable, and I got it wrong originally on my first video that I did a long time ago about this particular boat. I actually claimed it was the Ben Macherie, and then you got back to me within an hour or so, and then I realized it wasn't that, so changed it immediately. So in this case,
did you say it was the Bibby Wave Master 2 originally?
No, Bibby Wave Master 1.
But then that turned out not to be the case, and it turned out to be the Ben Macherie, right? Or is it the other way around?
There's the Bibby Wave Master 1, there's the Ben Macherie, right? It was the Bibby Wave Master 1 that was the issue, right? But the Ben Macherie, I had to get to a good understanding of what all these boats look like, basically, all these P&O stuff, so that I could
distinguish between them.
Yeah, basically. So as soon as I saw this, but I was pretty sure it was the Ben Macherie. I checked, and of course, yeah, exactly at the time that you would expect on the GPS of it, it was passing those wind farms in exactly the same place. Sorry, between the actual turbines themselves, the ones that you can actually see on the images. So there's no doubt it was that. It was passing the west of Dudden Sands, basically. So what he's done is he's claimed it's a different boat that would have probably been passing through the Burbo Bank extension at the time. So the difference between the Burbo Bank and the west of Dudden Sands is maybe even more than that. It's probably 140, 150 degrees off. We're looking towards the Isle of Man, from where I was. So those
can we get Al's video up and let's show his overlay, because that's essentially all we need to see. And before we go to the point with the GPS to prove what boat it actually is, let's just compare what he shows, because he claims it's a match.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, right? I mean, ultimately, what we're facing here is a massive issue with this shadow, because it isn't the back of the Ben Mai tree. It looks nothing like the back of the Ben Mai tree. The Ben Mai tree is much more compact. You know, it's not as long in width behind it as to the front. So the two boats are completely different, and even the boat he identified looks nothing like it from behind. Plus, the shadow is a completely different shape. It matches up the front of the Ben Mai tree and the mast that's on top of it, and what you would expect to see as it's reflected, as the sun's hitting that part, hitting the shadow behind it. The shadow.
I don't agree it matches on the front part either, Auntie.
Well, okay. Well, I did the observation. I've been looking at it, so.
No, I mean, sorry, on Al K's video.
Oh, yeah, it looks nothing like his. No. Yeah. Well, his is in the wrong direction, mate.
Yeah, no, but what I think we should do is look at his claim first and validate his claim before we disprove his claim to be incorrect. Because ultimately,
I can do that right now.
Yeah, let's look at his first. We'll debunk his afterwards.
All right. Well, do you want to present his video then? Because I can't do the system sounds, but I can certainly present the ship history of that boat.
You don't need the sounds. Just show the overlay where he blinks between the two boats. That's all you need to show.
Right, bear with me. Let me get that up, because I'm sort of working on the fly here.
I'll hum "Girl from Ipanema."
Pardon?
Sorry?
I said I'll hum "Girl from Ipanema" while you're looking for it.
You've missed your call in there, Nathan.
Right, okay, so where he's flicking between the two. I've got the video up, just bear with me. All right, there we go. Right, jump to present.
Yeah. Let's play a game called Spot the Difference, right? And we're looking for 8 differences between what he claims is a match and what is not.
Well, I'm not interested about that, because it can just simply be debunked in 2 seconds. We don't have to go into detail about what the boat looks like.
No, but what I do want to do is show how he claims this to be a match and how it isn't. In other words, it's not doing what he thinks it's doing. So, right, let's look at the boat on screen. Oh,
right, okay. So here's his blink test.
Yeah, just get it to the point where the P&O boat's like on the screen. Now, there's about 8 differences between the two boats, right? Start off with the bridge of the ship and the mast at the top. Look at the way the bridge of the ship is at the top. So, Nathan, if you put your mouse over it, you can see that there is a pronounced bridge where the captain would be, and there is a scaffold structure on top of it where the masts and the communication masts are. But when he takes the blink test off, it doesn't match. There's a missing bridge, and there's a tall thin mast, but there's no structure there other than a tall thin mast. So that in itself is like not the same. If you look down the left hand side of the boat, there's a logo on the side of the boat. Some kind of like identity thing that doesn't appear when he blinks over, so like there's just a white wall, so that's missing. There appears to be an orange life raft behind the bridge at the deck level. That doesn't appear to be there when he blinks. There is he's gone off it now.
Yeah, I've gone off it because I'm just trying to find out where he might have it up, but it says it's a particular boat.
Yeah, he does. He does. It's just before he does that blink test.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get the words.
You need to go about 1:35 into it.
What, where he claims he has the
where the blink test is? Yeah, it's just before that. There you go. That was it then. Stop. There. It might be the page before or the page immediately after. It's one of them two.
Yeah, but the thing is, of course, they're going to try and they want to debunk this.
There you go.
Here we go. There we go. The Norbay. The boat is a Liverpool to Dublin ferry. The Norbay. Here is a picture. Right.
Now, notice that he says it's Liverpool to Dublin. So he spotted that boat goes Liverpool to Dublin.
Look how long this boat is, though, in comparison to the Ben Mai tree. I mean, it's the front part of the boat is here, and the Ben Mai tree only comes to about here. About half of that, just about 2/3 of that boat in length. Now, I can debunk this straight away. Ship IAS, right? 7th of March 2019. This was where it was. This is where I was, which was down here, looking through the wind farms down through to Hoy Lake and past there, and seeing all the mountains in the background down here. So I looked through the pier from South Pier, which would have been exactly where my cursor is now. This is the way the boat is. However, I was pointing this direction up here towards the Isle of Man and the wind farms up here. So if I show you that on Google Earth, for instance, here's my location. It stops moving around. Where are we? I can't find it. I can't find it. Where's...
You've got terrain ticked.
Oh,
Get rid of terrain, and then you'll see it.
all right, okay. Blackpool Tower, and then not find it for me. I know it's around here, but it can't be.
It's because you got the terrain box ticked.
Oh, I was looking in the complete wrong direction, wasn't I? Right. So here I am. So this is exactly what happened. I took the images facing this direction originally through the pier, and then I noticed a boat on the horizon which was in this direction. So I swung the camera around and I start looking in this direction, and I film over this way, taking images this way. And these are the wind farms that we're looking through, and the GPS of the boat that he's identified goes in this direction from there to there on that day.
Well, if you show it on the GPS page, it shows where the boat was, and it shows the track it's taking, which is the Liverpool to Dublin route.
There we go.
Move the box off so we can see the boat. Right, there you go. That is where that boat that he identifies actually was at that date and time. So it is doing Liverpool to Dublin, right? And he's got the evidence. I mean, he's got it in his own video. It's going Liverpool to Dublin. He thinks that Ranty's looking south, which, you know, could be down to ignorance. But I'll give him that it appears to match. If you want to believe that that's a funnel, then it does appear to match in a little bit if you squint and kind of look carefully. But if you analyze what that boat is meant to look like and compare it to the real photo that was taken, there's about 8 different mistakes or differences between the two. They're not comparable, but he's passed them off as genuine, and they're not. They're really not. So Al claims one boat, and we can prove where that boat that he does claim actually was. Now, can we show where the boat that it actually was?
This is the Ben Marcherie here. You can see the logo on the side. You can see how short it is in comparison. Like all the bridge area is here, and it has a very small back end on it. That's completely different to the Norbay. I'm trying to find an image. There we go. That's a pretty decent one. So essentially what we're seeing is we're seeing the sun hitting the front of the boat here, and the shadow that's cast behind it is a shadow of this area here and the top of the this mast that's sticking up. I don't know if you've got the image. Have you got the image up at all? Oh, here we go. So yeah, here we go. So there's the logo, there's the mast, there's the boat itself, and there's its shadow at the back.
Now, obviously, you can see the logo on the side of the ship. Can you go back to the picture where the logo is, Ranty? There's the logo on the side. Now, if you can get a picture from the opposite angle showing the reverse side of the ship, you will see.
Let me see if I can find another one.
As it's leaving.
No.
There you go. No. You had one just down a couple. I think
that one.
There it is. There, that. Now, notice on the back of it. Can you make that a bit bigger? Because I can't quite see it. Perhaps.
What do you mean you can't see it?
I'll do.
It'll do. Notice if you flick back to the video, you know, the actual evidence. What I can see there is, so we're looking at the top part. So go back to the picture.
I can open these both up if you want. If you bear with me, I'll open it in Paint, and then I'll get the other image and overlay it.
Yeah, do all of it though, so that including that including the shadow bit.
Yeah, sure. Let's see.
Make it bigger.
I'm trying to. Oh.
Now, what we're looking for here is so it appears that band of, you know where the logo is?
This.
Yeah, the logo there. If that's the logo on the side, yeah, if that's the logo that's on the side, we must be looking at it almost.
It's heading in this direction. If we look on here, this is the actual position that it took.
Yeah, I'm happy that it's the right
line. This is where it's going through. The exact time that I filmed it, it was passing these wind turbines here through.
Yeah, but to be fair though, you haven't shown that on the GPS website.
What do you mean?
You haven't proved that it was there at that time on the GPS website, right?
Oh, right. You want me to do that?
Yeah, because this proves that you've got the right boat.
Right. So here's the Ben Macherie. Here it is coming down here
on the 7th of March.
Yep, 7th of March. Let me get the hover over the right exact time on it to get it. Hang on.
Now, obviously, there's an outgoing journey and a return journey, and he's getting the clips from both the outgoing and the return. So it's like overlapping with the 2 times.
Just bear with me. I will get it. Oh, there we go. Where was it? There we go. If I'm hovering over that, can you see where it says 10:50:51, 7th of March?
Yeah. Can
you actually see that?
Yeah, 10:51, 51 seconds.
10:50, 51 seconds. There we go. That's in the morning.
So that proves that the boat that he's looking at is that one. Right date, right time, right place. So we are looking at that boat, and you can see underneath it's called Ben Macherie. But when we go to the picture, I'm just trying to compare the 2 pictures between the 2. Because we're looking at it more side on, but it doesn't seem to even match when you look at it side on. So, it's the back. Is it not the back of the boat, the door? Is it not the cargo door? Or is it? I'm trying. It's dead small on my screen. What are you thinking, Nath?
I don't know.
That's better.
I don't think you're looking at it. The bottom picture obviously isn't going to match the angle correctly.
No, I'm just trying to get the proportions of it right. It looks like we're looking at the top part only of the ship. And it looks like...
What you're actually forgetting beyond all of this is that I'll put a line in, basically, where the curve of the Earth should be.
Yeah, I know. It's not about whether it's curved or not. It's whether or not we can make the boat match. But stretch that boat underneath. Stretch it out a bit. Oh, you can't now, can you?
Stretch it. What do you mean stretch it?
Just pull it stretched out to the right.
Well, I can't stretch it. I want to keep it in proportion. So I can open it like that.
So that must be the side of the boat then. I don't know. My gut reaction is that doesn't even match. Even though I'm happy that it is the right boat, it just looks like it's been so changed by its distance that we can't even see it.
Yeah, of course it's all distorted. It's right on the horizon.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, it's the right place, it's the right time, it's the right direction, it's the right boat.
And it's the wrong boat that he's identified.
Yeah, so with regard to Al does have the wrong boat. and we can't identify this as the Ben Macherie because it's got its satellite ping telling us that in that time, at that time, in that place, it was there. But to be honest, when I look at the picture and overlay the two of them, to me, it looks like either distorted to death, or I'd say it might not even be the same picture. It might not even be the same boat, but I'm happy that the GPS is right. So on the 7th of March, yeah, it is, isn't it? It is the Ben Macherie.
Yeah.
That's weird, because I would say that doesn't even match either, based on what we can see so far. But I'm happy to accept that it is the Ben Macherie. I can't really explain why we don't even get it to look similar, even though we see the logo on the side.
But it's
17 miles of distance. That's what you get 17 miles away.
Yeah, you get diffused light that just makes things change. We know that. So, with regards to it looking like Al's boat, T-Bone the Troll says that it looks like Al's boat perfectly. Well, I'll grant you that if you squint, I mean, if you go back to the picture, right? Go back to the evidence. If that funnel is really Al's ship that we know is in the wrong place at a different time, if that's really the funnel, then that means that the boat is like tipping up. It's like it's doing a wheelie.
Well, here's the thing, you see. Can you see the wind farms look white? That's because the sun's reflecting on them, yeah? Whereas the evidence that I showed for the boat, when it goes through, when I'm looking through the pier, looking at the mountains in the background, the wind turbines appear black because we're seeing the backside and the shadow of it. So basically when I look through I was looking through the wind turbines through here originally, and then you can actually see the wind turbines eventually when I scroll in a bit further. But they actually look black. You see how black they look? You can't really make them out, but can you see they look dark? They don't look white. That's because we're seeing the backside of them against the sun, whereas the other turbines look nice and white. And that's because, obviously, we're looking at them with the sun shining on them. There you go. There's the backside of them. Dark.
Ranty, was that Ben Macherie going the way that we think it was? In other words, heading away from us? Could it have been coming in?
No, it's heading out.
The front of it?
No, it's heading that way. That's the front.
It's weird because I look at that and I think, right, he's got the GPS in the right place at the right time and it matches. I'm happy that it is the Ben Macherie on that basis. But I also see that doesn't really match what we see in the picture of the Ben Macherie either. So it's like, It doesn't match Al's because if it is the right boat, it's in the wrong place on that date at that time. So therefore the GPS must be wrong. So what do you go with? Do you go with the GPS being right or wrong? Or do you go with what you see? And
we don't have to, right? Honestly, his evidence is just ridiculous. I mean, we're not even looking this direction. We're looking this direction up here. And this is where the Norbay was. This is on that day. The Norbay travelled in this direction.
Yeah, I agree. That's what it's saying. But I can see how the overlay, if you squint your eyes, I can see how Al's overlay can be accepted as being the proof.
You're dragging this point out. The point is irrelevant. Whether it looks like it or it doesn't, or it might be its twin. Who cares? It's not in the right direction. It's in completely the wrong direction. I looked this way, probably looking towards Ramsey, and he's saying that it's a boat looking towards bloody Wales. Right?
I agree.
So it's the wrong boat. End of story. That's it. You know, it doesn't need exasperating as to whether it looks like it or it doesn't.
He's fell out of bed.
You know, essentially that's the issue. It isn't the boat that he says.
Yeah, I agree. At the end of the day, the GPS is telling us that it's not that boat.
And what they now need to obviously explain is, firstly, how come we're seeing this boat? Because it should be 90 feet beyond the curve. Right? The boat itself to the tip here is only 65 feet.
Yeah, so he's got in the wrong place at the wrong time. He's got the wrong.
Yeah, why are we seeing this boat? Why is it there?
But even if you check Al's overlay, you can see that the overlay doesn't match even if you want it to. It doesn't, because even the funnel, the part that he's claiming is the funnel, is the wrong shape and it's the wrong size. It's in the wrong place. It's similar, but it's not the same. And it kind of needs to be identifiable and it doesn't match. There's numerous things different with Al's, with the photograph compared to the actual claim that he's making. And I'm sure he's aware of this because he knows that the boat that he's looking at is going Liverpool to Dublin. But unless he thinks genuinely that that's heading out towards Liverpool and Dublin, then he must have at least considered it and dismissed, but then accepted it. So I don't know whether he knew it was in the right direction or the wrong direction. I don't know. It can only be the case that he accepted it was.
It's just in the wrong direction. That's it. It really is as simple as that. That boat wasn't where it was. He says it's a boat that was in a completely the wrong place at the wrong time. It was at least probably 60 miles in the wrong direction.
So at very best, if we were to credit Al with anything, we'd say, okay, Al, fair enough, but prove that that boat that you see is the one that it actually is when the GPS tells you it's not. Basically, Al's got to fight against the GPS.
Well, it is the wrong boat. There's no doubt about it.
I know, I agree.
Anyway, that's it.
Hey, Arwen, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Anyway, what else is new in Flat Earth? What else have we got? This point's been debunked now for him. Wrong boat, wrong location, wrong, completely wrong. So yeah, you might as well just take the video down.
Oh no, he won't do that. He wants it to be seen.
He's got a monetized account.
No, but he wants it to be seen as a victory, even though it's actually factually based on a boat that's GPS in the wrong place.
Again, he didn't address the shadow. So technically what he's claiming, regardless of his misidentification of the boat, he hasn't actually addressed the point of the video in the first instance, which is the shadow.
Well, he did. What he did is when he did the overlay, he's saying that the shadow is a blue funnel. So right. if you put the video back on the blink test, when he blinks one over the other, what he's saying the shadow is actually the blue funnel. So there's the blue funnel. And you
can sort of see the boat coming through, but it doesn't look anything like it.
Yeah, it's not tall enough. It's not the right color. There's no railing along the top of it. There's no color on the side of it. But if that is what he thinks it is, yeah.
Well,
the only thing that he can think of is it happens to be roughly in the right place. But if anything, it looks like it's the ramp at the back of the boat. That's the only thing it can be. Oh,
I mean, look how big this funnel is in comparison to the shadow. Look how tall it is, right? There's the shadow. I'll leave my cursor on it where the top of the shadow is. look how much extra he's missing. Oh, Burke. Anyway.
Sorry.
So I didn't get the next message. Time, Al. It's like another Miles Davis. Definitely
it's the exact same thing as Miles Davis thing. Misidentification of boats.
Right. So, is that point finished now? He's got the wrong. Here we go. Well, I should have a look at some of the comments that people have put. Right, the rumpus. Brilliant stuff, Al. I was looking forward to having a go at this. And like you, immediately concluded that the dark area of the park was part of the ship. But you have said and shown everything that needs to be said and shown in very concise and graphic manner. Excellent job and research. Really? Really? Rumpus? Really?
Yeah, and then read my message underneath.
Okay, hang on. Well, Frank de Boer, this is a good one. Peter Lynn, good catch. Well done, okay.
Read Keith Marlowe's
the morons.
Read Keith Marlowe's one.
Whose?
Keith Marlowe. It's got a blue circle with a K in it.
Keith Marlowe. I don't see a Keith Marlowe. No, unless he's put it as a separate comment. Oh, here we go. Okay, it is the Ben Mai. By a nice coincidence, it's the Isle of Man ferry. Very similar profile, though. So, yeah, he got it correct.
So, read the messages underneath.
Keith Marlowe. They do look pretty much like the same boat, but on the route I found for the Isle of Man ferry didn't take that into that area from what I could see. All right.
So, he asked, hang on, that's important because Al's admitting that they do look the same, similar, but the route he found for the Isle of Man ferry didn't take it to that area from what he could see. Well, I'd like to know what he could see, because we see it as in the right place at the right time.
This is the kind of reaction that people do when something like this is put up, though, that is complete bollocks and absolutely wrong in every respect. And you get people like the Rumpers coming in, giving him a humongous pat on the back. Frank de Brewer, all these people. And let's have a look at the likes and dislikes, shall we? 21 likes, 2 dislikes. I'm going to put a dislike on that, actually, because it's wrong. And wrong. Yeah, so boom. Sorry, mate. Wrong place, wrong time, wrong direction. There's your boat down here. Let's see how we identified that, shall we?
Yeah, because he acknowledges that it's the Liverpool to Dublin boat. So that in itself, the only explanation would be that he thinks that you're looking south. Now, I don't know whether he did or didn't think that. And that would be a reasonable point, but it's checkable. And he knows that boat would have been out doing the Liverpool-Dublin run. So that might be the only reason why you would think it. But if you look at the differences between the two, they're blatantly obviously different.
Oh, country mile difference. Simply because these wind farms are all lit up because the sun's to the left of it. And I've actually identified these as the exact wind turbines, etc., etc. Here it is passing between the third wind turbine on here. This one here. One of the
comments I wrote on the video. So come on Nathan's video. I wrote, so come on then, ballers, what's going on to your extra-loomed, non-standard refraction hyena? And eventually, after about 20 messages, Nick with no L says, Sleeping Warrior, you realise it's pretty much you, Nathan, Ute, and John Watson laughing. You are the circus, and you are being mocked. And I said, I'll answer this specific question as part of the show too, Nick. You realise that you have no right? Well, here's the thing, right? Let's go with the point he makes, that it's basically me, Nathan, Ute, and John Watson laughing on our side. Yeah, well, here's the thing, right? That may well be true. Nathan, Ute, and John Watson may well be laughing, right? But I'm laughing too, and I'm sure Nathan's laughing, because you lot all think that we live on a little spinning ball, and you will accept any evidence whatsoever to support your position. You're unable to critically analyse anything. And if you'd have critically analysed the claim made by Al, rather than just accept it like a 3-year-old that's being presented with Calpol and gobbling it up like a child, then you would have realised that that's not the right boat. You can see by looking at it that the physical features are different. Now, it happens to be the angle and the right, like, the orientation to possibly line up that chimney stack if you want it to be the chimney stack. But you can check that by checking the rest of the picture and seeing are the similarities or differences. And there are no other similarities in the picture, only differences, and there are about 8 of them. So are you unable to critically analyse your own research and evidence, or do you just accept it because it claims to be a debunk, but when under scrutiny it fails to be a debunk? What's your position then, Nick? Do you still accept it anyway, or do you accept that maybe Al did get it wrong? Wrong boat, wrong place, wrong time, and it's because, well, he's so keen to jump on it as a debunking, and you're so keen for it to be a debunk that you'll accept it anyway, just like the child with Calpol. So, and then he says, his second line says, you are the circus and you are being mocked. Well, I spoke with Bob at Globebusters last night whilst I was awake before I got to sleep. And Bob said last night, I like what you do and the way you do it. I believe that I am one of the smarter people in the community and doing a lot to support it. Well, this is my position. I think that you ballers are fools because you can't critically analyse your own evidence. You get NASA that tell you, or SpaceX that tell you that they're bolting a Tesla motor vehicle onto the front of a rocket. And then you get Elon Musk saying, you can tell it's real because it looks so fake. And you guys lap it up. You guys honestly believe that there's a motor car floating around in space. Oh, well, someone's tracked it with a telescope. No, we see a light. We see a light that can't be identified as anything. And you guys think that that's a Tesla? Really? Is that the evidence? Is that the standard of evidence that you guys accept that proves a point? I mean, come on. It's nonsense, but you guys all believe it. So if you guys think that this is a circus and that I'm being mocked, we're laughing at you, but we're just being nice about it because we allow you to come on and present the evidence that you guys believe to be a ball. And guess what? Not many of you are doing it, are you? So where's all the ballers? Where's the evidence for rotation, curvature, gravity? Where's the evidence for any of this nonsense? There isn't very much out there. So the Etvos effect, we mentioned it briefly yesterday. You're traveling left to right or east to west, and apparently, if you go east, you weigh rising these sets. If you go east, you are heavier than you are if you go west. Why is that? Because it's the centrifugal forces that's being applied to you either make you lighter or make you heavier, because you're either going with the spin of the Earth or against the spin of the Earth.
Hey, Ruhik, how you doing?
Hello.
You guys believe this is true? Yeah, what's the evidence that proves it's true? Somebody in a plane that's not connected to Earth? That's proof? Really? Okay, well, if you want to believe that, fine. Where's the supporting evidence that proves that the Etvos effect is a thing? There's very little out there. I haven't found anything yet. I've seen a citation on Wikipedia saying that boats prove it. I don't know how they prove that, but that's a claim. And now we have Ruhif that thinks that evolution's true. Do we?
Evolution? Are we going to talk about that again?
Nah, not really. But is it Ruhif that's just come in?
Yep.
Yeah.
I was just poking him, seeing if he'd respond.
No, he's not taking the bait. Very wise.
Was that about evolution?
Yeah. He's one of these guys that believes that there was a fusion because his model demands that there has to be. Yeah, it hasn't got any evidence to prove that there was, but it believes it and accepts it anyway because he has to accept that. And I look at it and go, yeah, well, it's like saying unicorns exist because you see a cartoon of it. Because the only proof of this fusion of chromosomes is a diagram. Somebody's got a black marker and drew it out. Okay, so is that what you accept to be proof? Well, if that's the case, then I've got a drawing of Superman here. Pokey. Are you there, Ruhif?
You're on mute.
Sorry, I was muted. Just quickly to respond to that. If anyone wants to email the main creationist guy about the fusion, his name is Jeffrey Tompkins, and his email address is public. It's jtompkins@icr.org. Tell him from me that he's a chicken shit, and I would love to debate him.
Right, so give us that email address.
Say again?
Give us that email address.
J Tompkins, so JTOMKINS @ICR.org, which is Institute for Creation Research. And I'm basically here, like in this flat Earth stuff, because he won't speak to me, so I've got to find someone else to argue with.
Me too.
Yeah.
So jtompkins
anyway.
@cr.org.
Sorry, say again.
jtompkins@cr.org, and I've put it fancy a chat as the subject.
ICR, Institute for Creation Research, ICR.org.
Oh, ICR.org.
Yeah.
So you're asking
so
for the chat, Ruhif, for GPS locations for the boat. Are you satisfied? Not satisfied?
I think I'm satisfied that it's the boat, like, unless Ranty's lying about which direction he was facing. Like, I think it's the boat. But the images that I see on Google of Ben Mashari, the black funnel is almost as high as the white bulk of the ship. So if that's the boat, then clearly we need to see the black funnel. And if we're seeing the black funnel, it's not a shadow; it's the funnel. Who wants to bring up the
Flatmate, hello.
Why would Ranty be lying about his direction? Strange.
He's not saying he is lying. He's saying that's the only explanation if it is, a misidentified boat on our side. And I don't think Ruhif is implying that he has lied about the direction he's looking. I don't think he's implying that. Am I correct, Ruhif?
Ruhif's just been sniped by Flatmate. Flatmate came in, so I said hello, and he didn't respond, and then kicked him, and Ruhif's been kicked too. So obviously he'd come in and sniped him.
Well,
I could add Ruhif to this call if you want on Skype, Nathan.
yeah, go ahead.
I would. Add him in.
Because he's not an idiot.
Because it's good to have him in.
Right, Ruhif, I've added you into the Skype call.
Hello again.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
Hello.
We're going to do this on Skype, are we?
Yeah, you're immune from being sniped now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. There's got to be a better way than Hangouts. They're so shit.
Yeah, it's rubbish, but Nathan likes it because he likes showing the flaws in the Hangout system. And I've heard rumors that they fixed it now, but I don't know how true it is, and I'm sure Nathan will be onto it. But
It's not. Like, I've lodged a complaint 2 or 3 times, but no response. All right, we still live?
Yeah, that's all good.
Okay, cool. Right. So the photos that I see of the Ben Maishri, the black funnel is not quite as high, but almost as high as the main bulk of the ship. So the question is, if that's the Ben Maishri, we must see that black funnel.
I agree. I think that we need to match it and show that it is the same boat. And at the minute, I haven't seen the proof. But but would you agree that the GPS coordinates do support the idea that it is the same boat?
I haven't checked. I mean, I'm happy with Ranty just saying, this is the direction I was looking, and this is the boat that was there. I haven't checked that. I don't think I need to.
Well, as soon as I saw the boat, I knew it was a Isle of Man ferry. So I just zoomed in it, took a few snaps of it, 5, 6, 7 snaps of it, and then turned back round again and started filming south. So I automatically knew that it was the Isle of Man ferry. It was the first thing that I saw, and I identified it in my head when I saw it on the day. Came home, checked the Ben Maishri's GPS for that time, and it's exactly in the same place. So I have no doubt that that's what it was.
Yes, but if it's the Ben Maishri, you should be able to see the black funnel, right?
Hang on, let me have a look now. Let me just look at the image and see what you're talking about. Black funnel. Let's have a look at the image of it too.
So we have some common
You
ground.
mean the black funnel in the middle? There's a black funnel in the middle.
Yeah, in the middle. Yes.
That's a pretty narrow thing to be looking at, to be fair. And you ask him to look at something from.
It's down to establishing exactly what angle we're looking at this boat. What direction is the boat facing, so that we can.
Basically,
I'd say
that funnel is probably the height
left
of a human. Probably 7 or 8 feet. Well, obviously a big human, but about 7 or 8 feet, I would say. Just looking at it, you're looking at something.
The funnel is 7 or 8 feet high.
Sorry,
you're saying the funnel is like 7 or 8 feet high? Are you kidding?
No, because the total height of the boat up to the top of the mast at the front, down to the waterline, is 65 feet.
Yeah, and I would say the black funnel, if you look at a photo, is
8 feet, you
probably half that.
Maybe it's 10 feet tall. Then okay, maybe I'll say 10
I'm going to
feet.
say I'm going to say about 30.
Yeah, I'd agree with
you. How big do you think it is? Seriously, how big do you think that boat is?
I don't know, but as a proportion, that black funnel is pretty big.
Are you looking? Oh, you mean you're looking at the actual
the exhaust pipe,
like a pyramid shape, rather than just a little spire?
Yeah, it does angle up. Yeah.
Oh right. Okay.
I'll get this.
Okay. I'll go with that. 30 feet for that. I thought you meant you was talking about that black spire thing at the top of it.
No. The whole big black thing that's easily visible and is clearly not a shadow. Basically, if this boat is what you say it is, that's not a shadow. That's the black funnel, and you're missing half the boat behind the curve.
Yeah, but do you understand that the whole boat is meant to be behind the curve?
Yeah.
No, I haven't done that maths at all. Where are you getting the dimensions of the boat?
I was just about to say, so just before we go any further, Ruhif, can you're saying you've conceded it's the same boat, but can you get a good handle on what it is? Because if we say to you something like, you realise this boat should be gone, and you go suddenly totally ignorant and play dumb, I don't know anything about the boat, it's kind of a one-sided conversation. You're asserting things about the boat, but you don't really know where the boat is and the fact that it shouldn't be seen, which is our point.
Right. What we need to point out is it's 18 miles away, and Ranty stood on the beach. So at 18 miles on the beach, you got a distance, and we've got the distance, and we know how much it should be hidden or obscured if it's partially visible. And when you do the maths, 18 miles at say 12 feet, if you want to be generous, is going to give you a. Let me do the maths for you. Hang on. Metabunk. That's the one that you guys use.
Yes.
Distance in miles is 18 miles. Is that right, Ranty?
17.2.
And what was your height, do you reckon?
11 feet.
11 feet. Okay. So that gives you a refracted hidden of 93 feet. How tall is the boat?
I don't know. And I don't know. I haven't verified all the elevation of Ranty or the distance or anything like that yet.
Well, hang on. Let me present just 1 second.
We need to know what the height of the boat is.
Yeah, I've got it ready.
Yeah.
Hang on, just bear with me. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do it in this hangout, but I mean, I think the point still stands that you're still missing half the boat.
No. Yeah. The point stands is if the boat's supposed to be behind the curve, then we're looking at another mirage.
Okay.
By that, do you just mean refraction?
Well, yeah. If the boat isn't really there and we don't have a direct line of sight with it, then it's not there, right? Therefore, we're looking at an optical illusion, bending light around the presupposed curve, right? That's what we're establishing now with you.
Okay, we can call that a mirage if you like. I probably wouldn't call it that, but I take the point that if you went in that direction, you would not hit the boat. It's not where it looks like it is.
Okay, the molded depth of it is 14.3 meters. That's the important part.
Where do you get this though?
Sorry?
Where do you get this? Where do you get these stats from?
The design of the boat from shiptechnology.com. Ben Machery passenger freight ferry. It gives you the dimensions of it, the design. Its length overall 125.2 meters. Molded breadth 23.4.
I got a parking domain for shiptechnology.com. What's the website?
Ship-technology.com.
Okay.
Am I not displaying? Am I not sharing?
You are, but Ruhif's in the Skype call, so he doesn't get to see it.
Oh, right, okay. So, molded depth, it says 14.3 meters. Now, if I bring up an image, and I'll show you what the molded breadth is.
But how do I see what you're looking at? Hold on.
Give me a second, Ruhif, and I'll sort that out so you can see him. Bear with me.
I'll go to the watch link and mute it. Hold on. Where are you? So you're presenting Ranty to the Hangout?
I was just going to say I've presented it to Skype now.
Oh, okay. All right, I can see it anyway. See it on both.
Have you got it on? Just let me just check this, Ranty. Have you got this on Skype now, Ruhif?
Yeah, I can see it on both. It's fine.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Sorry, Ranty, everyone can see everything now. Audience can see you. Ruhif can see you. If you want to carry on.
Okay, so 14.3 is the molded depth. So we're looking from basically the waterline just under to this part here, 14.3. So to the top
meters.
In meters, yeah. So to the top of that's about 30. If you work that out into feet, 90 feet.
Yep.
I'm assuming, I'm pretty sure that's the molded breadth there. There is some other things that suggest it could be up to the top. But for argument's sake, just so that until other people can help me out with this, I believe I'm going to say that it's to here.
Yeah, it kind of has to be because the bridge is like a person height, right? Like 3 meters.
Yeah. Something. My understanding of it personally is up to here, but just because I'm not 100% sure, I'm actually just going to say it's just this part here. So if we went with the worst case scenario, it's 90 feet. If we went with the best case scenario, the top of the boat would be 65 feet because the molded breadth would be here. So I'm not a boat expert, So I'm going to suggest that this is the molded breadth here.
Yeah, I'll try and find it on the ship technology. Yeah, but it's not going to be something that we can work out during this hangout. Someone's echoing.
Well, essentially, 90 feet in total anyway. It would be gone. You wouldn't see it from 17.2 miles away.
That might be my opportunity to do a quick link. We have about an hour left on this live stream. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it's live, and a link in the info box once the video has rendered. Most importantly though, if you'd like to join the debate, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. Please do not swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. Please also share the show, as this increases the live audience, and that in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share, share, share. And one last time, if you are new to the channel or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. As I say, there is approximately 1 hour left on this live stream.
Sorry, I'm just looking for a nice side-on picture of it.
We've got plenty of time, but don't, I'm not expecting anybody to figure this out during this hangout, Ruhif, so, don't panic.
All right. I'm happy to go quiet for a little bit and do some research if you guys want to talk.
Yeah, cool.
Amongst yourselves.
I'm good for that. Or hum the girl from Ipanema again. You're normally very vocal, Arwen. Not heard much from you this morning.
Nah. Well, this is all just the usual stuff. Ranty's still out there in the panel.
Yeah, still on the actually still in the hangout, eh, Ranty? Amazingly.
Hanging on by the skin of my teeth.
There you go, Ranty.
Hanging on by the skin of my teeth, sniping the snipers before they snipe me.
Yeah, it's a war out there.
It's always the same faces, always
Like-
the same names.
You're in a
That's it.
foxhole, and they're storming. They're storming you, sniping in all sides. But yeah, I don't know. I've been worrying a lot lately, mostly just been talking about it with some people, like Billy Sunday and everything, and it just seems that the direction things are taking pretty much universally, like in the media, what YouTube is doing, the level of storytelling that is being used now, it's become so much more aggressive and invasive and polarizing. Like,
Sorry, I've just read. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I just read Flamingo Boots' message. Do you agree that if the Earth was a spheroid, it is not a perfect sphere? Metabunk and the 8 inches per mile squared is based on a perfect sphere. No, 8 inches per mile squared is based on 1/4 of the diameter of the Earth, 1/4 of the circumference of the Earth. It's not based on a perfect sphere at all. Sorry, Arwen, carry on.
such a dickhead sometimes, Reddy.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I didn't mean to laugh either. It was just
Yeah,
Flamingo
but you
Boots
always
was being
do,
a bird.
don't you?
Come on, let's
Well,
not
it was
fall
funny.
out.
I laughed. It was funny.
Yeah.
You did
Anyway,
totally just
I was
hijack
just
Arwen at this
saying
point,
that-
though. I agree. Midpoint, he's on a roll, he's got his point, and then you hijack him.
Oh,
of the
was it?
chat.
Sorry, I didn't realise it. I thought you just.
Yeah, I know, but it always happens anyway. So I'm used to it now that you're doing that. That's fine.
I don't mean to.
I think
But you
your
do it
reaction
anyway.
was correct, Darwin. Say you're such a dickhead. That's the right reaction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine, and that's fine. I didn't do it with intent. It was Flamingo Boot being a Burke. I couldn't help myself.
No, it was funny. It's just bad timing. Anyway, I'm just getting worried that there's something's gonna happen. I think that pretty much everybody feels it. And yeah, of course, it's like the same feeling I got at the end of 2012. Things are getting crazy, and something is going to happen. And it's unclear what that could be. There are many things that could potentially happen. Basically, the start of an expanding world war. It's already brewing there, like with the whole unresolving situation with Syria. But there's so much more happening, and like parties are getting ready to basically go in full-out war. And the level of threats have gone up. Like, I don't know if you guys have paid any kind of attention, but like the whole thing now between England and Russia, that's quite dangerous. What's going on? What?
It's scaremongering.
Yeah,
That's all
fear
it is.
porn.
Yeah, is that all? Is that really all that is?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
all it is.
What you forget is that all these countries
They're
have the same
basically
master. They all
cutting
have the same
diplomatic
master, so-
ties. That's more than just scaremongering. It's not just the Russia-phobia nonsense, which people practically no longer believe in. They're now politically doing stuff that is worse than before. And
But there's an agenda behind
It's-
everything. There is an end game for all of this. It's all planned out. All these actors that are in the way, all this talk of war and stuff like that, it's all fear porn, and it's all designed so that they can spend more money on the military, and that companies can get more money off the people, and that people can have all the freedoms taken away from them. You name it. There's reasons why they do all this, and it's never going to come to an all-out war there.
now,
You know,
maybe
there's
not
something-
in a direct sense, but
There's something in Syria. I believe there's something in or these places where they have these wars in the Middle East, that they're trying to destroy, basically, and hide our past history, stuff like this. So all the buildings and monuments around it, I think there's something in that area that they just want to annihilate and get rid of. So
Anytime the world,
maybe it has to do with the apocalypse, because it was said, if I'm correct, that Syria would be destroyed, basically.
Arwin, are
So
you
they're
familiar?
pushing that?
In the World Wars, World War One, World War Two, in England there was this thing called conscription. Are you familiar with what
Yeah.
conscription is?
Yeah.
So basically, if you were young enough, you were dragged off to war. Now, ultimately, if you didn't go to war, you were given a white flag, and you were basically seen as being a coward, and it was a sign of disrespect to the. It's perceived to be that you're a yellow-bellied chicken. You know what I mean? It was seen as being something to be shamed. Now, as a young kid, I'd have been there. I'd have gone off to war, no problem, fight for my country and all that. But looking back as an adult, my position would have been, it's ridiculous. It's not. You're not even fighting for a cause that you even understand. You don't know what you're fighting for. None of them do.
Yeah, that is obvious.
Yeah, but as an adult looking back, I wouldn't have gone back as an adult. It would have been a waste of a life, wouldn't it? But as a child, before you get into the real world and realize what we're living in, then you just accept what you're told. Let's go and fight the Germans. It's a world war. Let's go and kill them. And as a kid, you would do it. But as an adult looking back, it's ridiculous. Can't trust anybody. I'd take the white flag now, me.
Well, maybe you would, but yeah, just because it seems it's more complicated than just that. Because there really was it's not as controlled as we would all like to think. It's not like they are really all just a group of friends up there.
Yeah, but if you listen to most American
Kings
soldiers,
make deals, but they also assassinate each other. That's how you need to see it.
If you look at most American soldiers, right, that have actually spent time in Iraq on patrol in Helmand province and places like that, when they get there, most of the squaddies report the same kind of thing. When they get there, they don't really know why they're there. They know what they're supposed to be doing, and there are the occasion where they come under fire, but most of the time, there's no enemies there out there. Very few and far between. But the way it gets presented in the news, it's like it's all day, every day. And most people say that it's just not the case. There are the odd moment where you get a couple of crazy guys with rifles, maybe a couple of mortar shells and whatnot. But most of the time, it's just not the way you're being shown in the news. And when they are there, they don't really realise what they're doing because they don't know who the enemy is. They're told who the enemy is. It just doesn't seem to be the case when they get there.
But that has more to do with just the military system and military policy for the United States, because they need bases everywhere and they need the locations. And so the reason why they're there is always secondary to just the need to actually be there for strategical purposes. So yeah, the reason they give is often complete nonsense. And when you actually get there, you find that out in the long run. But
is this anything to do with flat Earth?
I think the Earth is also flat in Iraq.
That's loose. That's loose at best, Darwin, and you know it.
No, there may be some holes here and there.
I'll take that as a no.
Sorry, was that a question to me?
I was just saying this is off topic. That's all.
Yeah.
This is just what I've been thinking about, and I've been thinking about politics too, like how even in my own country, how there's like a set group of people, and it's more complicated than, for example, in the United States, where you have obvious two parties that are both opposing each other but are also basically following the same type of policy in the background. And in the Netherlands, this system is also used, but it's a much wider group. There's like 5 or 6 parties that are basically one party, that are all bickering with each other about minor details, while in the background they all follow the same policy basically. And there's a few groups that are outside of that, but they rarely get a chance. They rarely get a chance to talk, because they break the narrative. Basically, they get into subjects that are taboo for the rest. And yeah, so they are left behind, just as a side note. And like, for example, the Pirate Party, you never hear I really like them, but you get to hear so little about them in the media. Very, very little. In a way, they just need some more time. But yeah, that's politics stuff. I guess that's on my mind right now.
But to start it off where you started, so you were like, will we end up with a World War III situation? And Chris and I were chatting last night, and it was obviously around the subject of flat Earth. And just to put this out there, what if it was the case that you found out the ultimate truth, and obviously flat Earth is part of that. The Earth is obviously and observably flat, so that is part of the deception. There's no two ways about that. But if you were to find out that led on to something like, I don't know, an investigation into the way the world works, which led you to free energy, which could potentially pool energy from the world, causing an imbalance and potentially the destruction of the world. Yeah. Now, just spitballing, just so that's a hypothetical scenario. If that was the case, it would mean that on your journey towards truth, you would realise that the truth, if in the hands of the masses, could potentially lead to the annihilation of everybody. Would you not also then feel it was the right moral thing to do to lie also and hold up the lie of the heliocentric system? Just putting it out there as a subject, a talking point.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's also something that I've been...
You know when they say things like America needed another Pearl Harbor?
Yeah, that's
You've
why
heard
I'm
that
trying to
saying,
connect
haven't
it,
you?
like World War Three. Exactly. That's the connection I'm trying. That's my ham-handed segue back into flat Earth.
Yeah, well, if America needed another Pearl Harbor kind of incident to instigate a fight, I always think that the World War, well, in the last 3-4 years, I actually think that World War One and World War Two weren't actually a fight against the Germans the way we were told. It seems to be more likely, in my opinion, to be education reset. People were getting too wise. They had cars with batteries that were able to do 200-mile range back in 1912, 1918, 1922. It makes sense to me that they needed to reset the population's education levels because they were too high. That would make far more sense to me than fighting Germans over a bloke with a mustache.
Maybe.
Look with a mustache.
Question for Ranty, if he's still there. What's the timestamp on the video you've got?
10:53.
Sorry, 9:53 a.m.
10:53.
10:53 a.m. All right, cool. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, now you made me think, Nathan, about the whole free energy thing. Do you think there could be, is the free energy really free? Or would taking that free energy be subtracting it from somewhere? Is there really unlimited energy in that sense? Or is it dangerous to actually do that?
I think it's dangerous to do that. I think there's evidence to show it's happened in the past.
Yeah.
So yeah,
but
I do think it's.
Could it be that using free energy like leads to a cataclysm of some kind?
Potentially, yeah.
That is like the fail-safe mechanism behind it. You can use as much free energy as you like, but
you could overload the system. You know, that's what I think would happen, and it would cause a huge imbalance. And yeah, it could be
but
absolutely
how would you overload the system by using the energy that is just there?
Yeah, you're taking energy from one place and putting it somewhere else that it shouldn't be if you've got a finely balanced system, and that could be catastrophic.
Okay.
I'm being deliberately vague, Arwin, because this is just speculation, pie in the sky. Just chit-chat, you know. I don't think anybody is in danger at this very moment of ending the world through trying to extract free energy from it. But I think there is a potential that could be, you know, it's certainly, just to put it out there, it's an idea that could be the very reason why we are being lied to. You know, initially you think it's because the people in charge are bad and they want control over us, and that's the end of it. Well, maybe not. Maybe they're trying to prevent the annihilation of the entirety of the population. You just don't know. You don't know why we are being lied to. But lied to we are.
I had a good conversation yesterday with your most likable rogue, Chris MCM and Dawn Treader, and they were challenging me on the stars in the southern skies, proving that we live on a ball. And I was like, okay, so what makes you think that it proves? And obviously they went with the rotation points. I was like, okay, so can you prove that the rotation points are all south of two observers when looking south? And obviously the answer is no. It's like, well, why do you believe that it's the case then? And the answer is, well, because it makes sense. I'm like, okay, so we need the proof to show that the stars are in the southern skies, rotating when looking south. Two observers looking south, seeing the same set of stars, but in a different rotation point. And in the end, one of them, I don't remember which one it was, but one of them said, do you know, normally they'd run away from that argument. And I was like, well, prove that the argument's valid in the first place, and then we'll have the conversation. But until that's proved, there is no conversation, because it is a hole in the evidence. If we live on a spinning ball, two observers, when looking south, should be able to see the stars rotating in the same position, i.e. south, just in a different orientation or a different position of rotation. And that evidence doesn't exist. I've been asking for it for a while, no evidence of it, but it's required to prove that it's a ball. So it doesn't really happen. There isn't any evidence to prove that the assertion in the first place is valid. So if anybody can collaborate with somebody in South Africa, perhaps Rory, or Rory might know somebody in South Africa, and then somebody, for example, in Australia, then let's do it.
Me.
Yeah. So I'm all
Anthony
up for that.
Anthony and I chatted about this before. Obviously, if I go outside now and point south, that will be my celestial pole, direct south.
How would you prove it's south?
If I would probably film my compass on my phone.
Okay. So then, did your compass deal with declination or not?
I don't think it really matters, does it? Elevation, you mean?
It absolutely matters.
Why would that matter?
Well, whereabouts in Australia are you?
In Sydney. So I'm 31 degrees, I think, south.
So do you know what your declination adjustment is?
I'm sure it'll be 31 degrees elevation.
Declination adjustment for Sydney. Let's see what it says.
Look at the South Pole. Look at the South Celestial Pole.
Yeah, so according to the site I'm on now, magneticdeclination.com, you have an adjustment of plus 12 degrees.
Are we talking about in the vertical plane? Like, I'm not an astronomer, so I don't really know all the lingo.
No, we're talking that what you think is south isn't south by 12 degrees.
What? You think magnetic north is 12 degrees off?
Well, you have to have a reference point, and south would be your reference point. And my question is, how do you know what you're looking at is south?
You've just blown my mind, Anthony. I need to learn what this is now.
Okay. So just type in magnetic declination for Sydney in Google, and you should find numerous websites that give you the longitude, latitude, and then you should find different references. And as far as I can see at the minute, it looks like it's 12 degrees.
Wow.
Give or take a little bit, depending on whereabouts you are. That 12 degrees is important.
That's huge.
Yeah. So my question becomes: as your GPS as your GoPro, has it calculated for and adjusted for declination, or is it based on something else? Because you need to know whether you are looking south. That's the first question.
We're talking about the difference between the magnetic pole and the axial pole, right?
Are they not attached to the same thing? Is it not the same thing?
Well, that's the question.
Yeah, but your pole on your model is the rotation point.
Yep, and we're saying that's different to the magnetic point by 12 degrees.
No, I'm saying on your model it's the same, but you have this thing called declination, which makes an adjustment for it, which shouldn't be there if you have a rotation point, which is supposed to be your pole.
All right, I'll go and do some research on that later.
Great.
I had no idea. I knew that true north and magnetic north and grid north could be different, but yeah, no idea. 12 degrees. I'll research that. And,
if you know that bit though, maybe you can tell me what the explanation for that is. Why would you have these different norths?
I was gonna make that.
Hi, Jared. How you doing? Can you hear us?
Doing good. Riley, did you just try to say that, according to the globe model, the magnetic and geographic poles are supposed to be the same?
I didn't try and say that. I said that it was the case that is your model.
No, it's not. That is something I learned in not even middle school. It was late grade school that was taught not to be the case. Stop lying, please.
Okay, so you tell me your model then.
When it comes to the poles, I just did. And this is something that was taught well before now. This is nothing new to people who are
you actually haven't explained anything.
Hang on.
I said that we were wrong.
Show us what your model is then. Show us with regards to the rotation point what your model is.
The geographic pole is the axis of rotation of the actual movement of the Earth. The magnetic pole is the result of the magnetic field that is generated by the inner core.
How much do those differ by?
The spinning metal.
It actually
core,
varies.
right?
There is a drift of the magnetic pole. It has moved in location over the last 25 years that I've been paying attention to it. Where
So
the
can you show
geographic
us?
pole is today is not where it was 25 years ago. There has been a measured drift of it.
So can you
This
show
is
us what your
nothing
model is
new.
supposed to be, please?
This is nothing that destroys the globe. Stop lying.
Right, so can you show us, please, Jared? Show us what your model actually is.
I'm on a mobile device. I'm getting ready to do something you're incapable of, going to work. So you have a computer, look up the information. It's out there.
That's a bit harsh.
So the only
isn't it?
thing you can do is come on and insult me personally,
Liars
right? Is that
deserve
it?
to be harsh. You're lying.
Can I ask
You
a question,
lied about
Jared?
the model. You've lied about multiple things over your career here on YouTube. It's been known.
Yeah. So all you can come on is challenge me based on what you claim is a lie, but you're unable to present your own model.
Because you said a lie. You said that the globe model says that the magnetic pole and the geographic pole are the same point. They are not.
Yeah, but you've come on knowing that you're going to work and knowing that I'm going to ask you for your proof, and you've come on and claim that you can't prove it because you're going to work, but you're still here.
You have the capability. You want to look it up for yourself. You are all about firsthand knowledge. This is nothing new.
True.
This is something
No,
that
I'm not
you
about
should
first-hand
have
knowledge.
remembered from primary school. Go look
I'm not
it up.
about first-hand
Stop
knowledge.
making claims. Stop making claims that are patently false. You're going to get called out on it. Just like
Okay, and if
now.
you're calling
Can
me
I
out,
ask
I'm
you a
enjoying
question
this.
before you go?
Bring it. Let's see what evidence that you've got of your model. Can you tell us what your model is? Oh, hang on, you're going to work. So what are you doing on the panel then?
Wait. Did you not hear me already correct you on
Yeah,
that?
you're going
Or
to
are
work.
you- or-
So why are you here?
To point out your lie that you just made.
Yeah, but you can't point it out with rhetoric.
Yes, I did.
No, you can't. You need to produce evidence. And you're on your way to work. So again, why are you here?
Okay, well, you have the computer. You made the claim that the globe model says that they are the same point. Where's your source?
Your source
Prove
is
it.
your primary school education.
Can I just ask a question so I can go back to researching other stuff? I know that magnetic north and the axial geographic north are different. Is 12 degrees the amount of difference?
According to Sydney.
Right
if
now,
you're in Sydney,
it is pretty
Yeah.
close. It does vary based on your location because of that difference between the 2 points.
right. Now,
It's
why is there a
it's
difference between the 2
triangulation.
points, liar?
Pardon?
Why is there a difference between the 2 points, liar?
I already told you. One is the axis of rotation of the Earth itself. One is the location of the magnetic field as resultant of the molten core of the Earth.
There's no
So the
evidence of a
rotation
multiple
point on
Nothing
your
pole.
new.
model is known as the rotation point on your model is known as either the North Pole or the South Pole, correct?
They're two ends of the same axis.
Right? And the Earth spins around that rotation point, correct?
Yes.
Right. So you're saying that there's now a magnetic difference between the two, but on your
It's
model,
been
it doesn't
known-
show that.
it has
It doesn't
been
show that
known
when we're
that
being
there-
presented that,
It
does
has
it?
been known that there is that difference ever since there's been magnetic compasses used.
So what? So we know there's a difference.
Hang on.
So what?
Yeah.
So we
that's exactly it.
hang on.
There is a difference.
Jared,
He is trying to say
how
that
many
the globe
rotation-
model says there shouldn't be a difference.
hang
That's
on.
wrong.
How many rotation points? Can we just clarify there are only 2, correct?
Of actual movement of the surface of the Earth.
Magnetically speaking, there are 2.
There are 2 strong poles in the magnetic field. The magnetic field does have fluctuations. It is not a solid, homogeneous field with
Great.
no deviation.
So how
through
long
it.
do we have before you have to run away?
I actually have to be out the door in 8 minutes.
Right, that's okay. We've got 8 minutes. Nath, could you, if I share my screen, could you present?
Yeah, sure.
Let me know.
Yeah, it'll take me a moment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
while
you're
you're
sharing.
searching, I'd like
you're
to
up.
point out that also that, well, the molten metal core is actually incapable of creating magnetism.
Correct.
Like to remind
No,
you
it
of
isn't.
that.
No, it isn't. Stop it.
Have you got any evidence that it can?
The fact that we have a measured magnetic field and the fact that we actually can use seismology to
so you
indirectly
measured a
image the
magnetic
core.
field, and that is
Circular
the
reasoning.
proof that a molten iron core causes it. That's
Circular
genius,
reasoning.
man.
Total nonsense in logic. That
Nathan,
doesn't
might
prove
be
anything.
presented.
So you're gonna deny seismology?
No, we're going
Hang
to
on,
deny
hang on,
that
let's-
that
hang on,
proves
nothing
a
to do
molten
with
core.
seismology.
It doesn't.
Hang on,
It
hang on,
proves
let's-
that there is a
Molten
field
metal,
there.
molten iron is incapable of causing magnetism. It's not even.
Are
It
you
cannot
denying
even be
seismology?
influenced by magnetism. This is proven with
Are you
actual
den-
physical
are you denying-
experiments.
Are
No,
you
that's not
denying
true.
seismology?
That's not true. Right, hang on. Let's keep it simple. We've moved too many. We've made giant leaps here. Let's go back to the basics. Nathan, am I being presented?
You are.
Right, Gerard, do we agree that if you type in the words magnetic field map and then click images on Google, you can find the magnetic fields of the Earth? How many points
Yes.
of strength do we see in the magnetic fields? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many poles do we have, Gerard?
Yet, if
2.
you notice, 2 of those, when you wrap that map around a sphere, are actually the same region.
Which
Oh,
2?
really? Really?
Which two?
So North America and North Russia
North
are
America,
the same
North
region.
America on a globe is not close to northern
Really?
Russia.
Which 2?
Really? It's the
top
same
2.
region. It's just
Hang
like
on,
20
Jared,
degrees difference on your
magnetically
ball, but
speaking,
it's
and
the
see,
same region.
And see, here's the thing. Did I say that the magnetic field was consistent throughout? No, there are
No, but
deviations
there
in the
requires
field,
to be 2
and that's what those
poles.
ley lines on that map you just showed were demonstrating. The deviation. It was not showing a complete polar change. It was not saying there
Right,
were
there
multiple
appears to be
poles
5
within the
poles,
magnetic
Jared.
field.
How many
There
poles
are
are there on your model
deviations
again?
of strength. There are deviations
How many poles
of
are there on
strength
your
in the
model again,
magnetic
Jared?
field.
Sorry, I didn't catch that. How many poles are there on your model?
There are 4 in total. 1 axial
On your model?
rotation
On your model, how
leading
many
to
are there?
2 geographic and 2 magnetic.
How many on your model again?
If there were more than 2 magnetic poles, a magnetic compass would not work.
Right, here's the problem. How many are there on your model, please? Give me a numerical answer with 1 word.
I already told you. And your answer is not how many is not 1 word.
How many poles are there on your model, please?
4. 2 magnetic, 2 geographic. 2 north.
Okay, so on
2
screen
south.
we have an image of your model. How many poles, magnetically speaking, are there?
Magnetically, 2. If you notice, there's also a line there.
How
for
many
the
really are there?
axial.
How
That
many
is not
really
a
are
measure
there?
of
We have
poles.
1,
that
2,
map right there.
3,
There is
chart kind
deviation.
of shows
4,
That
5.
is deviation of
That's
strength,
a
not actual poles.
magnetic
Stop
chart.
conflating
A
the
magnetic
data.
chart.
So, Jared, on your model, we have 2 magnetic poles, 1 at the top, 1 at the bottom, and the fields go north to south or south to
varying
north.
field strength between
Why
the
don't
2.
the fields
That's what
go
that
south
map
to
is
north?
showing.
Why are the fields going
That-
east to west?
Do you even understand a magnetic field?
Answer
Other
the
than
question.
looking at a picture, do you understand what a magnetic field is?
Answer the question.
Yeah.
Why are all the fields on your model depicted in a north to south direction, and they all appear to be pointing north to south, right? But in the real world, they appear to go east to west. Can you explain that, please?
You're looking at 2 different representations of a magnetic field, and you're trying to conflate
one's
the 2.
One's real world, and one's pseudo.
One's a measure of magnetic field strength. One is a representation of the ley lines between the 2 poles. They're not the same thing.
What?
Notice how I keep
No,
telling
it's not
you
magnetic
field strength is not
Right.
poles. Field strength
Earth's magnetic
is not
field.
poles.
Earth's magnetic field is also known as the geomagnetic field. It's the field that extends from the Earth's interior out into space. Now, when we click on this, this is the world magnetic model. So how is this different? Why is this different to what we see? Your model tells us that this is what we should see because there is a magnetic pole and then another magnetic pole. But in real world, there seem to be 5. So why is it? It's the same thing. We're looking at the same thing.
One
but
is
it's
a
different.
measure of field strength. The other is a representation of the ley lines. There is a difference.
But why are they going
between the
horizontal,
two.
Jared, not vertical? Why is the 5 of them?
Why are you ignoring what I'm telling you?
Because you're not answering the question.
Yes, I am.
How is your right? So go on, answer the question, and let's see if it answers the question.
Answer? No, let's see if you were paying attention. What was my answer?
You said that this was a magnetic field map. These are ley lines.
No.
One representing the ley lines.
No.
So then, what's the other one representing?
No. That one right there. That one is a cartoonish representation of the ley lines between the 2 poles.
Right. And do you agree that they all go vertical?
The other one was a measure of the field strength.
Right.
Different
so
things.
Even if
no, that's a full stop right there. You cannot compare the 2 right there because they are not showing the same thing.
Why are the field strengths going through horizontally, not vertically?
Because you don't understand magnetism.
Right. So it's my ignorance, right?
You're saying basically
in this
that
case it is.
The magnetism is stronger, all in the same direction, but just stronger at seemingly random locations, like that. There's just fluctuation in the magnetic strength all over the place for no particular reason.
I'll give him that for the sake of discussion. Let's move forward. Why are there 5 points of it and not 2? Why is one of them not at the top and the other one not at the bottom?
No, I'd like to know, because with a regular magnet, there's clearly at the North Pole and the South Pole of those magnets, the intensity of the magnetism is the strongest. So why is the Earth's surface so incredibly, seemingly
Anthony,
randomly fluctuating in its magnetic strength?
Go back to that image search where you were showing that field deviation.
Do you mean the first one?
No, go back to the image search where you picked that one from.
You mean
because this goes right to what Arwigen was just saying. Yep, see that first image right there?
So just out of consideration for Jared, you said you had 8 minutes.
Yeah, this will take 2 seconds. There it is, Arwigen. You have strength at the north, strength at the south, weakness in the middle.
No.
Is your
this is
field
exactly
itself.
the same representation of this.
That is the combination of the 2. Why didn't you?
Do you not see the similarities?
Oh, wait.
Can you not read maps?
The globe model.
Can you not read maps? Can you not see that this area here is represented by this area, and this area of intensity is represented by this area, and this one up here represents this? These 2 are both exactly the same. One's got pretty lines, the other one's got pretty colours. So again, why is the 5 rotation points or central magnetism points? There should be 1 at the top, there should be 1 at the bottom, and the strength line should go north to south in a vertical rotation. It's all basically matching.
It's wobbling all over the place.
It should be, it should match what we see there.
It's highly, highly unstable. It's not like a regular magnet. It's basically more like a molten magnet that has solidified again, and it seems to be going all over the place. It's completely unstable in its pattern.
Hey, Spurs.
This is not a regular magnet.
Hold on, guys. Hi, Spurs. How you doing?
Hi. I just wanted to... Jared, he's gone now. So, okay. I just wanted to ask him if about the original question from Anthony. Is it possible to have 2 observers, which we got away from? So...
Yeah, the position is that I would accept that we must be on a ball if 2 observers looking south from different continents could see the same set of stars, just in a different rotation point. But they must be looking south. If they're looking anything away from south, then that doesn't prove that we live on a ball, because you're going to get one that looks southeast, the other one looks southwest, and then that creates a massive problem for the ball Earth belief, because they should both be looking south.
Well, that was it. I wanted to see if Gerard or you could have come to a consensus that your 2 positions could or couldn't, but you've got away from the point. So
So, given that Jared came on to call me out on my lies, I think I'm going to claim not a victory on that, but I'm certainly going to claim that Jared lost on that point. Because ultimately, if there's supposed to be 2 poles, why does this map thing exist? Why is the field intensity thing so erratic, indicating that there seem to be 5 poles when there should only be 2, and they should all be north to south? The fields should all be going north to south. Strongest at the top, strongest at the bottom, weakest in the middle. Why is that not the case on that map?
It's
I didn't write the
warping
map
all over the place. And if you have a reason as to why it's warped like this, then what is literally what is causing that?
No idea. So thanks for that, Jared. I think I'll just call you out back. Why is there 5 rotation points or 5 intensity points or whatever? Why don't the fields go the other way? They should be going north to south. They should be strongest near the poles, weakest towards the equator. Why do we not see that? Is it because we don't live on a ball?
You're going to need someone like Paper or Paul to answer that, right?
Well, Paul won't come in because he knows that next time Paul comes in, he's going to be asked for the evidence that the Curie temperature of iron, once met, can then self-perpetuate its own charge. And he knows that there is no evidence, and that's why he's not been back in since, because he's a yellow belly.
Is a white flag.
Do we still have Ruhif?
Paul can't come back in.
Do we still have Ruhif on the call?
I think he dropped.
He dropped. Shame.
So, comment from chat from a faceless troll says, "You liar, Sleeping Warrior. You obviously cannot understand what an intensity map shows you." Of course I can. I can see it. It's self-evident by its own picture. Stop saying it shows 5 rotation points. It does not show that. It shows 5 points of intensity, right? There should only be 2. There should be 1 at the top, 1 at the bottom. They should be the most intense points. All the field lines that go between the 2 points should be vertical or following the shape of the globe, but generally north to south. We don't see that. So why is that? Is there a difference? Does science have its own meaning for the word field strengths?
Yeah, but what's your conclusion of it all?
My conclusion is that we don't live on a ball.
Or at least that the whole system of how the magnetism is supposed to work ball-wise doesn't actually work that way. It's not like a simple magnet that we could industrially create that has a north and a south pole and the magnetic field as is suggested with the globe model. That doesn't seem to be the case, and the magnetic intensity map kind of proves that it's fluctuating all over the place, and we still haven't heard any explanation as to why it is fluctuating like this. Not even an attempt to explain it. And I'm still really curious as to why that is. I'm not drawing any conclusion that because of this intensity map, it can't be a ball, but certainly doesn't help explaining. Yeah, it doesn't really help the ball at all.
Arwin, play devil's advocate with me. Pretend that you're a baller.
You want?
Huh?
Okay, sure.
How would you argue about that map, the field intensity map showing like 5 rotation point things, strength point things? How would you argue that? No, I know they're not a rotation point, but it indicates strength of field in that area.
Well, it all depends on what is in the ground, basically. It's obvious to me that the magnetism is not caused by a spinning metal core, because liquid metal cannot create magnetism. This is just a proven physical fact. So there might be something else that is perhaps non-liquid metals that are stuck in the core that could actually create this magnetism. And well, that would mean that the magnetic field, as we know it, could be created by just metals in the ground that just happen to be there, and that could explain the magnetic intensity chart. Maybe it's like this, that the free energy in the air actually, when it gets to touch the metals in the ground, that causes the magnetics.
Sorry to interrupt, Nathan. Can you respond to Rock Lover's last comment about the 100% matchup? I don't think he understands what a 100% matchup is when he's comparing the funnel of one ship over the other.
Yeah, sure. See my video called, what was it called? Give me 1 second.
Well, he says the shadow of the funnel is the Ben Machery or the Norbury. So that's a 50-50. It's one or the other.
So, yeah,
and then he says it's an absolute 100% matchup.
So watch the video called Debunking Blind Moron Al K, Flat Earth Debate 165, or watch the beginning of this Flat Earth Debate 165.
Or just be aware that the funnel of the Ben Machery and the Norbury gives you a 50% possibility that you may be right, but he claims it's an absolute 100% matchup based on a 50-50.
In the wrong direction.
Yeah, Ranty, do you want to actually, we may as well, because we've done it at the beginning of this debate, so just go through what we went through at the beginning again. Why is Al-K wrong? Just correct rock lever, basically.
Yeah, because the boat he's identified is basically through the Burbo Bank extension, whereas the actual direction that I was looking in was towards the west of Duddon Sands. So there's a difference of around about 130, 140 degrees of span. So the boat cannot be his boat. It has to be the Ben Machery. That's it, essentially, because he's looking in the wrong place.
But nice to know that you automatically assume that Al-K is correct without a single shred of research, rock lover. Nice. Good to know.
Yeah, it's basically like if I was looking south, say, and I was looking at Liverpool and identifying it as Scotland. Basically, it's that sort of retardedness.
Yeah. Better let next time, Al-K.
Anyway, moving forward, and not to drive the point home too much. What else is new on Flat Earth? Has there been any other observations that anyone knows about, what they want to talk about?
There was something, I don't know if people have seen it. I'll share my screen. And to see what you think of it, really. You may have already seen it.
I'm going to stick you on, Spurs.
Yeah,
you're presented.
So yeah, this is the flat. I mean, they do things in plain sight. Usually reverse things. And it's been suggested that this is the shape of the Earth. We're told it's a circle, the wall's a straight circle, but this could be the shape that we've seen.
Wow. That is pretty interesting. So you're saying that that Antarctica, the shape that they present to us, is actually the shape of the ocean, of the pool in which the Earth continents lay.
I think that is what Spurs is saying, but I'm going to say something different, which is to say that I don't think this is correct, and I think that you're on the right lines, which is to say that what you're actually seeing, I think, in Antarctica is a mirror image of the coast of the land that it represents being next to. So, in other words, you might still have a perfect circle in terms of what the ice wall looks like. This is all speculation. I have no idea if there is an ice wall. I make no claims that I know what is out there. I don't. But speculatively, I think the edge of Antarctica would be like a match with whatever continent that land on the outside edge matches with. So you're kind of on the right lines, but I don't think that's what the ice wall looks like. I just think that if you were to take one section of what you have on the right, you could match it up to whichever edge of the continent that it coincides with. I think that's more likely.
Well, there's still another problem, and that is that the supposed circumference of the Antarctic wouldn't actually physically be able to fit all the Earth continents within this layout setup. I even mentioned this problem pretty early on. That is that the South Pole circle basically doesn't fit all the continents, if it were to be taken literal and flat in a spatial linear way. It can't actually fit all of it. It doesn't have enough circumference to fit all the continents in this layout. So there's that little problem.
Sorry, Spurs, can you just confirm for the chat, are these real photos taken from space, or are they like photoshopped?
No, it's just obviously artist impression or.
Oh, sorry, because that wasn't like completely obvious and clear to me. I mean, because
no, you can tell that they're real pictures because they look so fake.
Yeah, that's it. You can tell they're real. Look how fake they look.
Yeah, pictures from space.
Anyway, I just thought it was a funny. It's an artist. This map is an artistic impression, and that impressed me. It's like, oh yeah, the reversed Antarctica. It's just funny.
I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, it is definitely not that, but it's just it's like an artistic impression. It, like, doesn't have to be true. It can still impress you.
Hey, Jazzaconda, can you hear us? I've just got up on screen now a picture of an azimuthal equidistant map with the magnetic declination plotted on it. Magnetic field lines, whatever you want to call them. So there you go, there's a picture of it on an azimuthal equidistant projection.
Does anyone know when that documentary is being released about the concave Earth?
End of the month, isn't it? End of March, I think. It was covered yesterday. Mark and Patricia covered it on Secret Show.
To fall back on the argument I was making, by the way, about the Antarctic, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is unavoidable that it must be on a ball, because if the Earth is rectangular looping, then the span of the Antarctic wall, in this case, it wouldn't be a circle. It could be. It doesn't need to fit the entire Earth continent because it's just at the south. And, well, it doesn't need to be an island either. It's just at the south part of the rectangle. So that's another solution. And yeah, it could fit a very deep length of land beyond the south, if that were the case. Or it could potentially loop back somewhere to the north at some point. Or maybe there's a barrier. Who knows?
We have. Are you still doing that conference, Nathan? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, I'm not actually invited as a speaker, so I was never intended to be on the list as far as I'm aware. So maybe not. Yeah, I might toddle along as a guest, like any other member of the general public. Funds permitting, I should be there.
You're on the flyer, yeah?
Say again?
You're on like the poster or the flyer?
I think he's just put me down as something like promotions or something like that. You know, he hasn't got me down as an actual speaker though. He never had.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so what I did, my part in it was like, can I help promote it in any way? So I did a few interviews with him and have chatted about it, and you know, I've tried to promote it in my own small way. But that's my only part of it. I'm looking forward to it. I hope I can go. That I will say. You know, in other words, one of the days you may see me there, but I'm certainly not going to be speaking about anything. I've got nothing to talk about as such. So that's why I'm not put down as a speaker. But Martin, Flat Earth British, he will be a speaker, and he's somebody in terms of, you know, actually listening to, you know, on a stage talking about his stuff. Martin's far better suited. Hence, Martin's actually a speaker, and I'm not.
Okay, yeah, because I'm just I thought I saw you on the flyer. You haven't spoken much about it, so.
Yeah, like I say, I'm not down as a speaker. I'm pretty sure it's just got me down as promotions or something along those lines.
Okay, fair enough. When is it? By the way, is it soon?
It's end of April, isn't it?
End of April. Okay.
I'll just double check. Hold on one sec.
I just mean there's a bit of controversy over.
So it's the 27th, 28th, and 29th of April. So that's when the actual dates are.
Just a bit of controversy over the way flat Earth information should be distributed. Conferences. I mean, I don't know. Do we need conferences? Do you think that's a positive thing? Do you think it needs a conference, or do you think it needs something else?
No, I think conferences are an excellent way forward. I think the one in the States was very successful, and I think the one in the UK will be equally as successful. I think they're a very good idea, making it formal rather than, you know, things like we've done in the past with meets, which are great. And, you know, but other than the social aspect of a meet, which all of us on this panel have done, you know, what in terms of what information did you take away from those meets? Probably very little. I don't know, maybe one of you will disagree with me, we'll see. But I think in terms of the conference, you'll have people who are, you know, tasked with actually passing on information. And that, I think, is extremely useful and worth organising and worth paying for.
No, well, because there's like two sides of it. We came into this in the beginning like, oh, we've been lied to. This is outrageous. We should be, you know, making a lot of noise about it. And now it just seems like, you know, we have this information and it's like, well, the anger or the emotion behind it has gone. And it just seems we're going through the emotions still when we've been lied to. So I don't see why, or I don't, you know, it seems very hairy-fairy, very, I don't know, it's like a slow, it's like we've been calmed down, they've stemmed our emotions on the lie, we've been lied to.
I think you're right. I think in terms of who you're talking about, though, the organiser of the event, the people who are speaking, and us on the panel right now, we are all several years into this. So for us, yeah, we have gone beyond the stage of anger, and that isn't necessarily the case for other people who come to this now. So somebody who might be watching this very live stream or watching the re-up of this show may not realise that they've been deceived, and they will go through the same, what is it, the 5 stages of denial or grief or whatever it is. You know, they'll all still go through those same stages that everyone goes through. So I do see it on videos from new flat earthers, and they express their absolute disgust at being lied to, which is still the situation, you know, and that does certainly come up on flat earth conversations, but it's just, you're not spitting feathers while you're doing it. And I'm talking about us or the other people in flat earth, you know, the Patricia Steers, the Mark Sargents, even the Eric Debays. That aspect of it is less prevalent because we've moved past that. But it doesn't mean that it's not prevalent in flat earth. Just type in flat earth and look at some of the new videos put out by people, and you will still see it. You know, there is absolute disgust at the fact that we've been lied to, because we have.
Well, that's the thing, that's what I'm saying. It's like we now focus on trying to prove again to the, you know, the same ballers that we're on a flat earth. And it's like, you know, like I just said, the whole fact that we've been lied to. So that's why I say when we talk about conferences, the message should be that we've been lied to. This whole thing has been fabricated, and it's outrageous. So I just think we're just being taken on a different path of, well, let's calm them down. Let's give them little nitbits of flat earth information to, you know, to keep them, you know, at a certain place. So I don't know. So I mean, there's a controversy over these conferences, whether they're the right thing or not. But the word's got to get out somehow. But yeah, that's
I think having a nice official, controlled environment where you're not just like we've done out in the park in Leamington, you know, open to the elements, police watching us, quite literally. You know, it's very different when it's an organised conference. You know, you're buying a ticket, there's security taken into consideration, it's at a venue, you know, you're having a tea and a coffee, and you're listening in a very calm manner to people disseminate their information. I think that is necessary. I don't see it as in any way a negative thing. So, you know, that's my view. I don't see how it can be a negative thing. So hence I'm all for it. I'll plug it away and say, you know, see if you can get yourself a ticket. Go to flatearthconventionuk.co.uk. As I say, the actual dates are the 27th, 28th, 29th of April, and it's at the Jury's Inn, Birmingham City Centre. So hopefully get yourself a ticket, or get yourself a webinar pass and just watch it. You can watch it from the comfort of your own home. There's webinar passes available on there too.
No, yeah. It will be interesting again because that's our first major one, but again, it's still... it just seems, like I say, the direction is not what it was when I first began. We were very angry, like, how could this is the biggest lie we've been told, you know, the mother of all conspiracies. So this is why I think it's why it's people who are in flat Earth are not of the conspiratorial mind. So they're just like, okay, the Earth is flat, then it's not a ball, and that they don't see the conspiracy behind it, so to speak. So I think that's. So I just think we need to revive that a little bit sometimes, and just remind people that it's, you know, okay, it's not that it's just flat. There's been a huge lie, and you know, many people believe that lie, and they still do.
Yeah, I mean, with that, I'll say first and foremost that I completely agree with you, and I see the heliocentric deception as the biggest deception mankind has ever had perpetrated on them. So yeah, it is a huge lie, and we should definitely reiterate that, and I'll thank you very much indeed for doing that, Spurs. Also, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the panel who have joined us and made this debate possible, and a massive thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully for sharing this debate. If you've not done so already, be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.